Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's dive right in. We're about to unpack a geopolitical puzzle that could literally redraw the map of Africa and maybe even ignite a new global conflict. And it all starts with a country that, on paper, doesn't even exist. So, here's the central mystery, right? You've got this nation, Somaliland, and it's suddenly at the heart of a massive global power struggle. But here's the kicker. You probably won't find it on most world maps. So, what on earth is going on here? To figure this out, we're going to connect the dots. First, we'll look at the state nobody seems to know. Then, we'll dive into its history, a real story of union and betrayal. We'll see why its coastline is so incredibly valuable, break down the global scramble to control it, and finally, ask a bigger question. Is this all part of a plan to redraw the world map? All right, so first up, what exactly is Somaliland? Well, it's what experts call a de facto state. That just means that in reality, in practice, it functions as a totally independent country. It has its own government, its own military, its own currency, the whole shebang. And they've been doing this for over 30 years now, with a democratic track record that's frankly more stable than a lot of its neighbors. But here's the thing that's changed everything. For decades, Somaliland was pretty much ignored by the rest of the world. But now, all of a sudden, this massive flurry of international activity has turned this unrecognized state into a global hotspot, seemingly overnight. So you have to ask, why now? What's the deal? To really get it, you have to go back and look at their unique and honestly pretty tragic history. Okay, this is where the story gets really wild. Get this. Somaliland actually started out as a recognized independent nation. 34 countries, including UN members, recognized them. And just 5 days later, they voluntarily gave it all up for this dream of a united Somali people, a dream that turned into an absolute nightmare. And when I say nightmare, I mean it. The violence was just horrific. Their capital city, Hargeisa, was bombed so heavily that it was actually compared to Dresden after World War II. That kind of trauma, it doesn't just go away. It defines who you are today. And this quote right here, it just says it all. It gets right to the heart of why, after they broke away again in 1991, they have fiercely, absolutely resisted every single attempt to reunite with Somalia. I mean, how could you? The trust was just completely destroyed. So that history explains their deep desire for independence. But it doesn't explain why, after being ignored for decades, the world suddenly cares. For that answer, we gotta look at the map. Location, location, location. See, Somaliland's coast runs right along the southern edge of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. And that little strip of water, it's basically one of the planet's most important shipping arteries. A huge chunk of global trade, especially oil, has to squeeze through this narrow channel. So whoever has influence here holds a lever on the global economy. It is some of the most valuable real estate in the world. And for the world's big powers, this isn't just about a nice beach. It's a massive strategic prize. It's a place to put naval bases, a spot to gather intelligence, and it's right across from the war in Yemen. It's a foothold in one of the most critical and contested waterways on Earth. And whenever there's a prize this big up for grabs, what happens? The world starts picking sides. You get opposing teams, each with their own high-stakes agenda. So let's break down the two camps. In one corner, you've got the pro-recognition team. Ethiopia, for example, is landlocked and they are desperate for access to the sea. The UAE and Israel see a golden opportunity for new military bases. Then in the other corner, you have the anti-recognition side. Powers like Egypt and Turkey are terrified of losing influence over the Suez Canal. And then you have the global players. China is worried this could set a precedent for Taiwan, and the African Union is scared it could open a Pandora's box of separatist movements all across the continent. For Egypt, this is really existential. The Suez Canal is their economic lifeline, and any threat to it is a huge deal. And for Turkey, they've invested a ton in Somalia. They have their biggest overseas military base there. A recognized Somaliland allied with their rivals, that would completely undermine their power in the region. So for both of them, the stakes are incredibly high. And for China, this isn't about the Red Sea at all. It's about something much closer to home. Beijing is watching this nervously because if the world officially recognizes Somaliland's split from Somalia, they worry it creates a powerful playbook that Taiwan could use for its own independence push. It's all about that precedent. But here's where it gets even more interesting. What if this isn't just about one country? Some analysts are arguing that what we're actually seeing are the first chess moves in a much, much larger global game. This quote really frames the theory. It suggests that what's happening in Somaliland isn't just a random event. No, it's part of a deliberate, worldwide strategy by superpowers to lock down these critical choke points, essentially to set the board for a future global conflict. And according to this theory, there's a playbook. It's a cynical three-step process. Step 1, you find a separatist movement in a really important spot and you covertly help them out. Step 2, you offer them the one thing they want more than anything else, official recognition, but you trade it for control of their ports and land for bases. And Step 3, you've secured a critical waterway without firing a single shot. You've turned someone else's internal division into your geopolitical win. Now, if you want to see this theory in action, proponents will point you straight to what they call Israel's Red Sea strategy. They argue that if you connect the dots, supporting an independent Somaliland, backing separatists in South Yemen, and getting involved in Sudan, you see a pattern. It looks like an attempt to create a triangle of allied bases that would effectively control the entire el-Mandeb Strait and surround their rivals. It connects three seemingly separate conflicts into one big plan. And you can't think of Somaliland as just a passive pawn here. They're playing this game, and they're playing it expertly. By offering to accept refugees from Gaza, they are deliberately inserting themselves into one of the most volatile conflicts in the world. It is a huge, calculated move, all designed to win favor with Israel and its allies in exchange for their ultimate goal, official statehood. So this is what it all boils down to. This one profound question. Is Somaliland's decades-long fight for independence a just cause of self-determination that the world should finally get behind? Or is this small nation's dream being used as a trigger, a geopolitical flashpoint for the next global war? The fate of this one unrecognized nation could very well decide the answer.